2. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are joining us. I am Katie Z with FIO Protocol. Today is Tuesday, January 26th, and I'm joined with David Gold, who is the founder and CEO of DAPIX, which is how we got to FIO Protocol. So, David, I'm so glad to have you join with the community, and these are intended to be these quick updates, and we're refining that, so we're getting better with it. But since this is the first video, I'd love for you to give maybe a brief little introduction about yourself and how you got to FIO.
Yeah, thanks, Katie. Great to be here. And as far as my quick background, I've been in the tech industry a long time, longer than a lot of folks who are in crypto. Date myself back to the .com era in the 90s is when I started a .com, a B2B e-procurement company, and went through all the stages of bootstrapping, angel, raise over 20 million in venture capital, navigated through the crash, and nonetheless created a business that became profitable. And so lived through all of that, and have spent a lot of time after that investing in, as a venture capitalist, early stage tech companies and working with early stage tech companies, and fell in love with blockchain and crypto very quickly. Went down the crypto rabbit hole and said, wow, this is the first thing I've seen since the World Wide Web that has that kind of potential. And the result of my diving into crypto as an investor and venture capitalist was seeing that crypto needed to be easy to use, and it wasn't yet. And I was like, my gosh, flashbacks to pre-1993 internet, and how difficult it was to use before web browsers, and dug into what was being done. And the result of that was the ideas behind the FIO protocol. So DAPIX was the venture-backed company that built the first version of the software. That software was actually sold to the nonprofit Foundation for Inter-Wallet Operability. DAPIX actually really no longer exists. It has no employees. I am not an employee of DAPIX anymore. DAPIX is totally decentralized since its mission in life was done, which was simply to create the first version of the software. So yeah, I'm excited to be here today.
Yeah, and I think it's important too for the community to know also that you were the pinnacle force driving the success with the Binance Labs and getting FIO to be part of that cohort, and a success story from them early on too.
Yeah, Binance Labs was one of the investors in DAPIX that that helped make the creation of the software possible, and enabled the Foundation for Interoperability to take ownership of that software and release it to the community as an open source product like it did.
Yeah, I just read, and I can put links to these things in the video description below, but I did just see that, by good fortune, FIO got a little bit of a mention in investing.com. They were doing a story on Dash, and they sourced some of the research around the usability. And the CEO of Dash, and I'm drawing a blank on his name, but he did a little informal Twitter poll, had about 1,000 responses, and nearly 67%, so more than 2/3 of them, said that the biggest barrier to crypto mass adoption is usability. And that's just like, it's consistent. Whoever you talk to and ask, like, this is a real problem, and I'm excited to be solving it. So, or part of solving it anyway, I should say. So let's dive right into some of the updates that we have. On a short list, we've got, if you haven't heard, we passed over 100,000 new FIO address registrations. So that's like a huge mile mark. And in just since crossing that, we're already at 107,000. I can put a link below if anyone's interested too, about where you can see this data in real time. So you can, monitor what's going on chain. All of it is open and public. That was probably a cool milestone for you to get to, I imagine.
For us to get to, I mean, it's not me anymore. Yeah, I mean, this is all about the community, is FIO being a decentralized protocol. But yeah, it's exciting to see the growth of the protocol and its users. That's for it to be successful, it's got to become pervasive across the ecosystem, to solve those usability problems that exist between different wallets, different exchanges, different DeFi platforms. That's what FIO is, right? Is filling in that glue that connects all of them together with a really easy to use user experience.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I love it too because, my last name, for example, is one that after going through a little TMI, but after going through my divorce, it was about like, branding myself, creating a new, like, how do I want to show up in the world? And now that, crypto, which is like my heart and soul, that I can have a means to be KDZ in crypto, and I have my wallet address is Z at Edge is the main one I use. If you want to drop donations, just kidding.
Yeah.
But no, I love that. Uh, and on that point, here's something I'm really excited about. And we'll get to the tech for you guys that want to get updates on the tech. Coming up is ETH Denver. So that is taking place from January 5th, or not January, February 5th to February 12th. So it's a week-long virtual event. It's the first time that they're doing it all virtual because of, COVID season here, but it is so cool. Like, it feels like this is my first foray into virtual events. And if you're not familiar with it, I'll also put links in the description for that. But if you're not familiar with it, it's like being part of a virtual reality, like Roblox kind of game. And you actually get to talk to your peers from all over the world, hanging out in a beanbag, watching talks and different things that you want to do. Of course, their big thing is the hackathon. This is your first time officially participating with ETH Denver. Is that right?
No, 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 no. Actually, I've gone to every ETH Denver event since its origination, and even back to before, back when I was with the venture fund, and before my time with this project. Yeah, so I've been there a number of times. I've spoken at the event before, and it's exciting to see now that the Foundation for Interoperability has decided to sponsor the event and sponsor hackathon and hacking around the FIO protocol. That'll be cool to watch the projects that get done that leverage and integrate the FIO protocol into them. And then I love the promotion that the foundation and that you are working on for the foundation to be run about folks being able to get pizza, which in a virtual event will be so cool for people to get something real delivered to where they are. I mean, how cool is that? We've all sort of done these virtual events since COVID. The tough part of it is it's all virtual, but you and the marketing team at the foundation are going to make it real with pizza. So that's just awesome.
I am so excited. So because it is virtual, it's, it lacks that real world feel where you could normally. And I haven't been to ETH Denver. I've had, colleagues and clients that have been in the past, but I'm aware that they have like food trucks. Like, who doesn't love getting, food truck food at these
Oh,
different
food truck,
conferences and events?
they've had it's the food trucks. Each participant gets a certain amount of free food from the food trucks in the past, and obviously they can't do that this year. So anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but yeah, that's what makes this so cool in so many ways to help enable people to get some free food.
Well, yeah, that's what I wanted to also mention. So if you're hearing this and you know that we're going to be there, it's a free event for you to attend. I believe we'll be walking around. We'll see, and more details to come. Stay up on our Twitter and places like that, and we'll keep you updated as these details come together. But yeah, basically, as I'm envisioning it today, and like I said, we're putting this together, is we walking around, the FIO team will have like little pizza shirts on. They can come up, talk to us, and the way to get pizza, courtesy of the foundation, is through sending a FIO request. So you'll have to have your FIO address, and then you'll send to a designated FIO address. I don't know if we create something new yet, so details TBD. Don't go sending requests to anyone yet. And we'll verify these requests in the memo field. You'll be able to tell us if you want pepperoni or cheese and what day you're at the event, and we'll do our best to make sure that you get hot pizza delivered to your at-home conference.
Very cool. Yeah, I think that's going to be a lot of fun. So ETH Denver is always a great event, and especially like I said, very special this year since the foundation and the community launched the FIO blockchain in March. That that there actually can be hacking now being done on the FIO protocol because it's live, and that's just really really cool.
It's not only live, but it's integrated into well over a dozen different wallets and exchanges. More are coming. We've announced this already, but now we're getting closer to the date that it's going to be launched and integrated into other wallets and exchanges. For example, we have Whitebit is getting very close to a token listing and token launch, which has been previously announced. I think we're going through the testing of that this week, and the plan is to have that go live next week. So more dates to be, officially announced once we have a good handle that everything's working the way we want it to. Changely, that's really cool. They've got over 2 million active users, which is huge. David, can you tell the FIO community that's watching a little bit about how to interact with or what the FIO experience is like with Changely, or what it's intended to be like, what they can expect?
Yeah, so with Changely or any of the centralized exchanges like Whitebit, and then the ones that are live, Liquid and BitMax, and Change Now is also live. The experience is one, and we have videos that are accessible on the FIO website where you can watch demos if you don't want to just go experience it yourself, of being able to transact and make a trade in the case of Changely and Change Now, and never have to actually interact with a public address. And for Change Now and Changely, which are quick exchanges, it's actually extremely useful because users actually have to send the token that they want to trade before they receive the one they're trading for. And there's a lot of errors of people in that process of sending those tokens. And by using the FIO protocol to do that, those errors are eliminated. Users just put in their FIO address at Change Now and soon at Changely, and they go to their wallet and they have a FIO request for the amount and type of token they need to send so that they can receive the other type of token they're trading for. And with centralized exchanges, it's all about making deposit and withdraw of crypto really, really easy. So users can withdraw by sending to a FIO address, and they can deposit by going to the deposit interface inside the centralized exchange, just like they normally would do. But instead of having to deal with public addresses, they simply get a deposit request, which is a FIO request, that shows up in their FIO-enabled wallet. And they just approve it, and they've made the deposit into their crypto account. And so we're excited to see Whitebit and Changely added to the rapidly growing list of wallets and exchanges that integrated FIO.
Yeah, absolutely. This is something that I'll be sharing more with the community, and we're getting some of this data right now from the current integration partners, and then hopefully broader than that. But having that fireside chat with the COO Seth Malamed from Liquid Global, it came to a point for FIO, I think, in that, or the foundation, that we knew that this is a really big problem, usability. And we know that the cost of error is insurmountable, right? But to actually get numbers and data and case study kind of information from this, how big the problem really is in dollars and cents, and the amount of people, and that FIO is addressing that problem, that's more information I'll be able to share with you. But for I know we're talking to a number of different current existing partners to get that from them. But Liquid was, I think, in a matter of less than 2 months, was 20 something addresses. And these were just the ones that they think lost enough value that they were bothered to do something. They think that there were a lot more that had like smaller transactions that they missed on, but it was at the time, and I think this was pre-bull run too, which is painful, $240,000 equivalent in value that was lost. And they have to have their developer team be pulled off from sprints for up to 5 hours just trying to fix one issue, and it slows down their productivity. And so it's like an order of magnitude kind of issue. So I'll be excited to share more with everybody who's watching this once we get more and more data about that. And so I guess this is a good plug for join the email list, because we're sending those out now too.
Yep.
Anything else that you want to touch on this week?
So I think some of the other updates have talked about the work that's being done to wrap FIO tokens, and by wrapping FIO tokens, that'll enable them to participate on DeFi platforms like Uniswap and other ones. Also worth mentioning that that same effort is also wrapping FIO domains. So the same technical work that's being done by the community to wrap FIO tokens will also apply to FIO domains. And what that will mean is that FIO domains then could potentially be traded on platforms like OpenSea, where people are trading NFTs, because each FIO domain is an NFT. So I'm just really excited about that. There's also a community group that is already working on a centralized domain trading platform for FIO domains. So that will enable a system where people can post domains for sale, and where people can put bids and prices on domains through this centralized listing site. So kind of like a Craigslist for FIO domains. And that's a community group that on their own initiative has started to build that. So we envision in the coming months, not too many months, I don't think, that FIO domains, you'll find different places where people can actually buy and sell FIO domains that they hold, similar to how web domains can be bought and sold on different sites. So we're real excited about those things that are being built.
And on the domains, just for a little clarity, and for those that might not already know, there's two kinds of ways to set up a domain. So you have your FIO address consists of two parts. You've got your username, which for me was in the example earlier was Z, and then the @ symbol edge. So that edge would in that case be the domain. In this case, this is a domain that you can customize, brand, whatever. So I mean, just for argument's sake, you could have Nike, or Nike could have Nike, and they could have potentially, this is something I see as being a real world thing that will happen, is, sorry, my kids just came home. Zoe, can you not get the right now? We're live in COVID. This is real life. No, but so hypothetically, using that example of like Nike, I see that in the future, whether it be FIO or another, Nike will have all their different stores. So like store 1276 at Nike, and that's where you can send payment to your crypto payments. Now these domains can be open or closed. Can you tell the community what that means and to them?
Yeah. So the easiest corollary here, because it's obviously not by no means is an exact technical corollary, but conceptually it's a good corollary to help people understand this, are email addresses. Email addresses have a username and they have a domain. Most people get your email on Gmail, Hotmail, etc., right? They don't have their own domain. But some people do have their own domain because they think it's cool and they like it. And obviously most businesses have their own domains for a variety of reasons. Not only marketing, but also control. When you have your own domain, you can control who has an email on that domain. So the difference between open and closed would be a Gmail domain email address is open. Anybody can go and get an email address on a Gmail domain, right? As long as you pick a unique username that's not being used. So an open FIO address is similar. Anybody can register a username on that open FIO domain and create a FIO address. And so most wallets, for example, will have their FIO domain be open so that their users, whether it's at Edge, at Coinomi, at Shapeshift, at Infinito, whatever, they can just put their username on their wallet's domain. It's a lot easier for the user, etc. It's also, they don't have to pay for the registration of a domain to do that. Closed domains are where each username has to be approved and basically signed by the owner of the domain NFT. And so the use case for that would be, for example, a private company. that says, yes, we want our FIO domain for use of our company, but obviously we only want the people we approve to get a FIO address on that domain, very similar to how a company would handle their email addresses, right? They do not want, back to Nike, Nike does not want just anybody to be able to get an email at nike.com. Only their employees can have that. So that's the difference between open and closed. FIO enables that, but does it in a decentralized, self-sovereign way with no central intermediary involved in those processes, which is what makes it, among many other things, ultra, ultra cool.
Yeah, and another thing, this is a heavy discussion being had, and would love for the community to participate in this and provide feedback, is the concept of verified FIO addresses. So in a contextual example, this isn't happening, so I don't want anyone to get the wrong impression. I'm not giving any insider information here, but hypothetically,
That video will go by.
hypothetically, Binance has, their domain, Binance at Binance, and you could register your own username against that. They could, if they wanted to, they could set it up so that only their KYC'd users could register a username at Binance. Hypothetically, that
well, in the case of Binance, sure, because they're a centralized entity and they control that domain. So yes, they could decide to do that. The concept of verified FIO addresses, which is a FIO improvement proposal that's being worked on by the community, it's not being coded yet, but it is being discussed, is one where FIO on chain would support the concept of verification. And that verification could do a lot of different things. It's where a third party or entity is attesting to something about that FIO address. So it could be as simple as a third party attesting that that FIO address is associated with a specific email address or Twitter handle. It could be a third party attesting to the fact that that FIO address is associated with a unique verified human being. Sybil attacks are a big problem in the crypto space, but if FIO addresses were verified in a way where a third party said, yes, we verified that there's a human associated with this FIO address and they're a unique human being, it's not a bot. FIO verification could be associated with a certain data that might be needed for regulatory reasons, although we're not a fan of that. It's a reality in some cases. Some companies have to deal with that. So all these things could be done theoretically with a verified FIO address, and the attestations to a FIO address presumptively would also be controllable by the owner of the FIO address. So if somebody was trying to attest something to your FIO address and you did not want that attestation, obviously you would have control over that, and you could have the ability to not allow it. That way somebody couldn't just spam some attestation to your FIO address that you don't want.
Yeah, no, I mean, thanks for sharing that with the community. And part of this is that, I want to get them more exposed to some of the dialogue that is happening between, the active workers at FIO Protocol, and bring that to light, because that's the whole purpose. That's the beauty of a decentralized group or organization, is that you get the mind share of many involved in that. And so I'd love to invite people to comment, provide your thoughts. The easiest way to get involved in these discussions and learn more is fioprotocol.io/chat. That'll bring you to the FIO Discord. That's where the developers are hanging out. The Pavo, the product manager, is there as well, who's extremely knowledgeable yourself. I'm there, although you can just talk marketing if you have something about that with me. And business development as well. So, I mean, if there's an exchange or a wallet that you use and you want this feature and functionality, there is no better way to, get this to the top of the decision-making ladder at those wallets than an actual user saying, hey, this is great. I want you guys to check this out. I would love to have this be a part of, my experience with you guys. So please do. Any final thoughts?
No, pizza. I'm hungry. It's lunchtime, and looking forward to watching how this works, and seeing who the lucky ones are that end up getting free pizza sent to them, via a FIO request. That'll be just so cool.
If I have it my way, now this is definitely not cheap to do, but if I have it my way, there will be a lot of pizza to be had. And I want everyone experiencing FIO and
Awesome.
having a good experience. So.
Sounds cool. Well, thanks so much.
All right. Well, until next week, everybody, signing off. See ya.